Stay tuned for WBAG Talk Line. You're listening to the King James Walker channel. Thank you. Alamance County, what's on your mind today?
The Talk Line. Happy to have you along. Hope you will give us a call today. 336-222-9224. You know, yesterday we heard about the fact that Sheriff Terry Johnson was talking about shutting down their contract with ICE. The Sheriff's Office issued a formal statement on Wednesday that it formally ended its contractual relationship on Saturday due to a recent change in state law regarding the pretrial release and monitoring of criminal suspects known as Arenas Law. This sweeping piece of state legislation was ratified by the General Assembly on September 23rd in order to address a wide range of criminal justice and detention matters. The new law's provisions touch on everything from the death penalty to pretrial confinement of mental patients who break the law while under involuntary commitment and things like that. Well, how much money is this going to cost Alamance County? To lose that contract, well, the county will forfeit about $1.9 million in annual revenue. Now, the sheriff was also negotiating for more money and negotiating to have the ancillary jail building have put a new roof on it, see if ICE would do that. But you know, what the sheriff is saying is we simply cannot take on ICE prisoners without more space, and there are a lot of problems that go along with that. You know, I think this new Arenas law has caused some consequences that were unanticipated, and they may be able to try to work through those. But some of this other stuff, you know, it just the sheriff is saying no. They've got these strict rules, and it's going to be impossible to do the things that the government wants us to do. But $1.9 million, that was what the current contract was. So that's a lot of money that went to the county.
Iran. The Trump haters didn't even give any credit to those precious pilots that flew that mission. It was so dangerous or whatever. And it included those in the fake news media that immediately questioned whether the sites had actually been destroyed. Now, rest assured that if this had taken place under Mr. Biden's administration, oh boy, we would have had such an uproar. I mean, everything would have been just peaches and cream. But once again, if it's connected with Trump, it's no good. If that doesn't tell you about brainwashing to the extent that if Trump had to get any credit, I mean, I don't know what does. They had rather that the bombers missed the targets rather than Trump getting any credit. I mean, after all, we remember when Nancy Pelosi declared that Trump had nothing to do with the removal of that evil commander of the Iranian forces during his first administration. I recently became, though, in connection with this, I recently came upon a very interesting article I wanted to share this morning with the listeners. Mossad, that's M-O-S-S-A-D, which is Hebrew for Institute, is an organization that has responsibility for human intelligence collection, covert action, and counterterrorism. Its focus is on Arab nations and organizations throughout the world. Now, the former director of Mossad, Yossi, that's Y-O-S-S-I, confirmed that the joint operation coordinated by the United States and Israel obliterated Iran's nuclear sites, halting its uranium enrichment, and warned that Israel can come again if Tehran resumes the nuclear program. And President Trump himself, of course, has made that very clear. They have no hesitation whatsoever of going back in. Cohen, who led Israel's intelligence agency till 2021, described the operation as a turning point for Israel's security and the nation's diplomatic future. This is what he said. For many years, everyone knew that Iran was our premier client and any personal client. And that was the nation. That was the nation and the station in our workflow because of the threat that Iran posed to Israel. He said, since June 2025, Iran has been in a different position. I absolutely accept the president's description that Iran's nuclear sites were obliterated. I know for sure that Iran doesn't enrich uranium these days, which is a great achievement. And more than that, Iran knows two things. First, that we can and we did with the United States in beautiful cooperation and coordination. And second, something even more important, we can come again. Cohen praised the Trump administration for its discreet coordination with Israel and the Mossad and the IDF that enabled the joint strike. And he said this: we destroyed their air defense systems, their Revolutionary Guard sites. We chased their filthy terrorists in their own bedrooms and beds inside Tehran and other cities. And we destroyed the nuclear facilities that were threatening the state of Israel up to the level of an existential threat, and they know that we've done a beautiful job there. In his newly recent book called The Sword of Freedom, Cohen, who worked directly with 3 United States presidents, he recalls how he warned President Barack Obama in 2015 that the Iran nuclear deal was dangerous. That's the one that, the cheap one that Obama originated. Cohen writes, I told him it was risky. He said to Obama, I told him it was risky. And Obama's response was this: your side, you are so wrong. He says that conversation was a scene that was later repeated with President Donald Trump. He said, when Trump took office in 2016, I told him the deal was so wrong in principles and practice. And President Trump said to him, you are so right. It's the worst deal ever. And on January 31st, 2018, Cohen watched a live video feed showing a 25-member Mossad squad infiltrating Tehran on a cold, snowy night. And in the Mossad, he says, in the Mossad, we love it when the weather is extreme, when everybody else stays indoors. And he said that with a smile. And that night, agents stole, get this, folks, agents stole 55,000 pages of classified documents and 183 compact discs, which they smuggled back to Israel. And he said it wasn't done by UPS. And the materials revealed that while Iran was negotiating with the United States and world powers, it was secretly continuing its nuclear weapons work. So I bring this to the attention of the audience this morning because what I've shared causes me to raise a very critical question. Had you rather have Obama in the White House holding a cheap peace treaty in his hand, or Donald Trump, who had the courage to make the right decision to get rid of those nuclear sites or whatever in Iran? That's the difference, folks. That's the difference. It's called courage, and it's called peace through strength. Peace through strength. Mr. Harry, I hope you and Miss Suzanne have a wonderful weekend, and I hope that both of our ball teams will have a victory, especially Carolina needing to go to the bowl. And God bless you, and we'll talk to you Monday morning. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. 222-9224.
A little bit of rain, but things were a little dry, so get a lot of fires. Anyway, I was watching this mess that's trying to cook up again. And between the Democrats doing everything they can to obstruct this country from getting up and running wide open for no other reason than the Trump derangement syndrome. You know, that was a joke I started years ago. It's no longer a joke. It is a real, live thing. And it's just like a big old rattlesnake.
You see him chewing. You
Everything
hear him
that
chewing.
President Trump does.
They some ignorant people. They can't
Yeah,
even
they
talk
was
on the
joke
radio
on
without eating and chewing.
If President Trump found the cure for cancer, the Democrats would be against it. It's no longer a joke. No matter what, no matter how good, no matter how great, no matter how anything, the Democrats to a man hate the president. They would rather see the Democratic Party, and I'm going to paint them all with a great big old black brush.
I think that's a mistake, because John Fetterman, he's certainly not doing that against them when they're wrong. So I think he's...
Can you name a second one?
Well, not recently, because all the other things it's been Fetterman. There were 8 senators that voted in order to open the government back up. I think that was pretty sharp. So all 8 of them, one of them was an independent, not a Democrat.
Well, they caused the problem to start with.
Well, but they didn't go along. The leadership wanted them to keep the government closed, and they didn't. So yeah, look, it is always a mistake, and you know that I'm going to say this. It's always a mistake to paint with a broad brush. I think that there is Trump derangement syndrome out there, but there are a lot of Democrats that do the right thing most of the time.
The rhetoric that they put out there, they want someone to try to kill the president.
No, I think that's terribly unfair. Democrats don't want that. What Democrats want is power. They want to be back in power. They're not in power. They want to be back in power. And I think personally, this is my opinion, the way they're going about it is foolish. They're making a lot of foolish mistakes trying to get back in power. And that's what's going on right now.
Well, that's where I agree with your right to disagree with me. But I have a lot more fear for the people of the United States than some other people do. And I'll just tell you, I mean, look at the mess that they pulled at the last Charlie Kirk rally. There are really some people that would love to see the United States of America go down in flames. And they're advocating for it. They're planning, they're spending millions of dollars to tear this country down to nothing.
No, I just disagree with you. They're not trying to tear the country down to nothing. What they're trying to do is regain power. And they want to tear the Republicans down to nothing so that you won't vote for them anymore and you'll vote for them. That's what this is all about. This is not about tearing up the country. This is about getting them back in power. And I think they're going about it, many of them, certainly not John Fetterman or the 1 independent and 7 Democrats who voted in the Senate to open the government back up. They're not doing that. And what you do when you start painting like that is you have the people on the other side saying, "See, I told you that Trump was an idiot. Look at all those people that are supporting him." That's what happens when you do that. We need to quit doing political business and start doing the people's business.
Well, the Democrats are not going to do that.
Well, I think we just saw 8 of them get pretty daggum close to doing it when they opened the government back up. That's the way it's supposed to work.
8 out of how many hundred?
Well, whatever the number is, the number of Democrats and independents and Republicans, off the top of my head, I don't know. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. They had the wherewithal to open the government back up, and they did it, and bravo for them.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on this one, Harry.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate your...
God help the United States.
All right. Thank you. Well, when you were talking about how stupid it was for the government to be closed down. See, it really is. I don't think you ought to be able to shut the government down. I think that's stupid. It's really dumb. It's like little children fighting. It's political business. It is in the people's best interest. But they needed help. The Republicans couldn't do it on their own. They couldn't open the government back up on their own. They had to have some help. Because you need 60 votes in the Senate. They had the votes they needed in the House, and they voted for it 14 times. But in the Senate, they voted it down 14 times. And then along comes 7 Democrats and 1 independent. and they decide to open the government back up. So you can't paint everybody with a broad brush, because here are 8 people that went against the leadership in order to open the government back up, and I think that speaks volumes. We could be a country that sends people to Washington that can do the people's business. And I'm encouraged. Yesterday they had a unanimous vote, again, another one, to take that stupid thing that they attached to the continuing resolution out of there. And they got it out of there. Now the people in the Senate again are saying they may not pass it, but they had a clean continuing resolution. And when these 8 people came along, they managed to put something in there that had no business being in there, and it looks like the House and the Senate may get enough votes together to get that out of there, and that's exactly what they need to do, because it was stupid. On Talk Line.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet,
About them on Talk Line. All right.
Come on, Harry.
Hey there, how are you?
Good. I'm going to make a correction on what I said. I said yesterday 80% of the money that Epstein gave was to the Democratic Party. It's 89 to be exact. The other thing is Hakeem Jeffries. We didn't talk about the first arrest. Everybody thinks it's talking about this last arrest. But the first arrest in Palm Beach County was in 2013. Hakeem Jeffries went to him after that, and several other Democrats went to him asking for campaign money. So he was already convicted for solicitation of prostitution of a 14-year-old girl. So it doesn't seem like they have a problem with that. But I think this thing's already blown up in the face, and there's going to be way, way, way more Democrats that are guilty of this than there are Republicans. So they've changed the narrative now. It's like I said yesterday, they'll go on to something else. You got these senators standing up there and congressmen telling military personnel to not obey orders. They said illegal orders, but none of them have said what illegal orders they are, which there aren't any. Because if there's illegal orders given, then of course it ends up going into courts like everything else, and ends up at the Supreme Court or wherever. But there's no proof that any illegal orders have been given by military personnel or the commander-in-chief. So I think they just go from one thing to another. They see the Epstein thing probably not going to work. It's actually going to work against them, just like the shutdown did. Everything they try is just not nothing that helps the country.
Well, the thing that fascinates me about this, and I've talked on the air with people who don't buy into this, but why was it that they didn't, during the entire Biden administration, they had these records? Why didn't they bring them out? There was other than the legal problems they had with several of the cases. The reason they didn't bring them out is because what's happening now would have happened then. And what you said, I don't know in the final analysis whether there'll be more Democrats embarrassed or more Republicans embarrassed, but everybody's going to be, there are going to be a bunch of politicians that are going to be embarrassed. The thing is, that's why they didn't bring it out before. Now they're bringing it out, and they're trying to move it toward Trump. Well, Trump threw the guy out long before he was ever even convicted of anything. He thought he was a creep to begin with. So this is not going to bode well. They knew there were a lot of smart people that knew not to bring this out when they could. And then all of a sudden now they've got some dumb people in there who think they're going to try to turn this and make it look worse for Republicans than it is for Democrats. They're doing political business, and it is backfiring on them.
It's grasping for straws. It's anything. I mean, this has been the case with this man since 2016. And every time you turn around, they're going to bring up something that is backfired on them every time. Every single time. And they just keep on doing it. And it shows that they have no thought about the American people. because they're tying up millions of dollars in taxpayers' money, wasting ungodly time on stupid stuff. And now we're going to sit here in January, and Senator Kennedy got up yesterday and says, hey, we are the laziest senators. He said, here we got another shutdown approaching in January. Why aren't we working on these things? Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're just so right. And it's just, you know, going about talking about Epstein and stuff like that. You're going to have the same mess come up again at the end of January. And here we go again. You know, and Hakeem Jeffries, and, you know, of course, they're going to, the Democratic Party's always got they're going to primary him, you know, and AOC's going after Schumer's. I mean, Schumer's history, which that's hard to believe AOC could beat Schumer, but, you know, with a crazy Democratic Party as far left as it's gone, I'm sure she gave it.
I don't think AOC can beat Schumer, but I think that they can sure defeat Schumer for the leadership.
Well, all the polls say she could beat him more easily. You know, the polls they run on that, and she's way out in front of him. And, you know, I mean, he's going to get, and, you know, Fetterman, now they're going to primary him in Pennsylvania because he voted not to shut it down. That came out last night. They're going to primary him. So, you know, they don't want any good people in the Democratic Party. They don't want anybody in there. They want somebody just totally radical that wants to change this whole country. And, you know, they can't get them, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to replace all the moderate Democrats with radical Democrats. And who knows? They might do it. I never thought we'd elect a socialist as mayor of New York, but we did. And mayor of Seattle. You know, it's crazy. But, yeah, of course, we're the bad party. We're the violent party. Republicans are the violent ones. I don't see a lot of Republicans out here doing all this damage in North Carolina schools. 1 in 7 students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, I saw this morning, 1 in 7 students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg is illegal immigrant. 1 in 7. And we've been up there over a week, and we've arrested 300 people. It's going to take a long time to get 20 to 30 million out of here at that rate.
Well, yeah.
A long time.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten, you know, this administration is working at, according to them, as hard as they can to get these illegals deported. Look at what Barack Obama did. 3.5 million deported. We're not in anywhere near that yet.
Hey, it's a fight against them. Yeah. I mean, every one of these blue cities.
That's correct. There was nobody fight. Look, nobody was paying any attention to the reason that Barack Obama managed to get that many out, which is a really good thing, is because he wasn't being challenged in court every time he turned around. The Democrats didn't have any problem as long as it was Barack Obama getting rid of him, which, you know, and that's exactly, there wasn't any problem with it. And what Barack Obama did was, what his administration did was great. And that's what the Trump administration is doing, but now they have a problem with it. That's what's so stupid about that. That's political business. That's all that is.
Chicago went into Chicago and deported every one of them that wouldn't have got a word said.
Right, correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. Dude's right. There wasn't. I mean, it's not a matter of there wouldn't have been anything said, no matter where. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's where we need to go back to. That's where we need to be. When people are here illegally, we need to deport them. Do what Barack Obama did. He
deporting people in Trump. Obama didn't put on a show with jack-booted thugs, masks on, unmarked cars, going to construction sites, dragging people, arresting women. They shot a woman out there. Trump's putting on a big show. It's a mass production. And that's the difference. And the people don't like it because of the way he's doing it. Got nothing to do with They want the illegals gone, but they don't. We don't need Hamas in the street sending illegals back. What those people are doing, we don't in America. We're not supposed to have mass folks on the street jacking people up. For any reason.
But why do they do that, though, Charlie? Why do they wear masks over their faces?
Because they don't want to be seen.
Right,
And
because
go
people
back home and know
are sending.
them.
That you call them jackbooted thugs, but the people that are the real thugs are the ones that are sending people to their houses when they identify them, when they don't wear masks, and intimidating their families and their children. It's happening all over the United States, and that's why they're wearing the mask. So it's different.
But what's the difference?
Well, because the difference is you called them jackbooted thugs because they were wearing these masks. That's not why they're wearing the mask.
They are jackbooted thugs.
Well, I don't think so. I think they're trying to do what Barack Obama did, only they have to wear masks because people are trying to kill their families.
No, if they wasn't out in the street shooting women, slamming people on the ground, nobody would want to kill them. Obama didn't do that.
Didn't have to, because nobody was protesting. They've got protesters out there throwing rocks and bottles and ice and trying to stop the people that are out there. They're protesting. Nobody protested Obama's
I know, but Obama didn't put on a show. He didn't have mass thugs in the street slamming people.
They didn't have mass thugs in the street in the beginning. They only started doing that later because they had to protect these people's identities. Obama never had to do that because there were no. It wasn't because they started out. Both of these interdictions started out the same way. But the one that we've got now, they cover their faces up so that so their families won't get hurt.
No, they brought it on themselves. Harry, the way if police go around assassinating people or shooting women, of course there's going to be some drawback. Somebody want to kill their families. You're going to kill their families, they want to kill your families. And of course you're going to have people protesting. That's why...
You didn't have people protesting when Obama was taking people away.
I keep telling you, Obama didn't put on a show with jackbooted thugs with hoods on.
Neither did Trump in the beginning.
He did it. He's doing it now.
What? You're saying he's doing it. I'm saying they're trying to protect people, and it's the protesters that are causing the problem, not the people that are trying to arrest people who are here illegally.
No.
All right. Well, we're never going to agree on that, but I think you've made your point.
No, we're never going to agree. So let me move on to something else that Barry said.
And I think you've made your point very well. I understand exactly how you feel, and I think you did a good job with that. I'm not upset. I just have a different opinion. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm. I'm giving my opinion. I always tell the people, look, if you got a different opinion, that's
Sure.
just fine with me.
Absolutely. And you're willing to talk about it, too, and I appreciate that.
What Barry said, look at the money that they're spending. Look at the money Trump is spending sending the National Guard to all of these cities. And not only the National Guard, he's sending the Border Patrol. And look at all the investigations going on with lawyers digging in the background trying to convict Comey and all of that stuff. And I heard Barry talking about conviction. Trump's been convicted himself. Trump is reckless. And Nikki Haley said it in the beginning when she was running. She said you're going to have 4 years of chaos, and they are. Now let me move to something else. Locally. And I keep hearing people saying all of the money that Terry Johnson's brought in for housing illegals. We have not gained a dime Terry Johnson brought in money, yes, but it went back out on salaries to look after these people. Lawsuits, he's about bankrupted the county from all the lawsuits that's filed against him in connection with these illegals. There's one thing I hope is the county commissioners understand, that Terry Johnson, all this money he brought in, he still wants the commissioners to give him $10,000 signing bonuses. And that's not enough. He wants to, I hope they're not stupid enough to build another building to how, don't get out of the business. We see that Terry Johnson cannot deal with the federal government. He's a public relations disaster. And when you get hooked up with the feds, you got to do things by the book, and it's going to come back on you.
And that's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about now. They're saying that this new law that they've got, the rules and regulations in that are keeping him from keeping ICE detainees because of that. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yes, it never should have happened in the first place. The worst things decision ever been made in this county, this is my opinion. Number one is the election of Terry Johnson. Number two was the weak-minded county commissioners that gave him 40 deputies when he said he didn't need any. He said, when he was running, he said he didn't need no deputies. The sheriff before him tried to give him 3 deputies. Said, no, you don't need them. Give me 1 deputy. No, you don't need it. Terry Johnson said, no, you don't need it anymore. You need to retrain the one you got. And wholly after he's elected, he miscalculated by 40. Oh, he found out we need 40 deputies. Now you tell me if that's not misleading the people, and I'm not talking about so much blaming Terry Johnson as the county commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that the sheriff needed deputies. They said he did. They held out to get Terry Johnson elected, and they gave him 40 deputies. That's malpractice.
Yeah. All right.
That should never have been. That's against the law.
Yeah.
And the commissioner out there is to stay away from the feds. You don't need it because you're going to finish bankrupting this county.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know how much, and I don't even know how you could find that, online or anything like that, but without asking. How much money have we taken in from the Fed since we started? And how much has it cost us to hold those prisoners, whether those two amounts of money actually, whether we made any money or whether it was to our advantage or not to our advantage. I think that would be a good number to find out. Let me tell you about Postal Connections. Postal Connections is a great place to go if you've got some packing and shipping to do. If you just need to you're running a business and you don't have a shipping department, but you need some packages shipped out, well, let the folks at Postal Connections be your shipping department. All you have to do is bring your items in and put them up on the counter there. They'll weigh them, tell you how much it costs to pack them, to ship them. You pay them and you're on your way there at 1183 University Drive, right there at the corner of University Drive and Highway 70 Church Street in the shops at Waterford. You can park at the front door, walk in, put your item up on the counter. And now, look, if you do packing and shipping on your own and you need supplies, they've got supplies. Bubble wrap, packing peanuts, tape, all the things that you need. Dwayne Souls is the owner there. He's put together a staff of people that are gonna work for you. They got some gift ideas too. Great gift ideas for holiday giving, Christmas giving, greeting cards for every occasion, a textbook buyback program. They do shredding, and a whole lot more. Postal Connections. Tell them that you heard us talking about them on Talkline.
Total Care Pharmacy was created by 3 local pharmacists.
Winner take all. I don't know what your opinion is on that. But I want to get into the Einstein thing real quickly, because I was sitting there thinking, he said about a cat could be alive and a dead at the same time in a certain dimension or something like that. And I got to thinking about, well, that's kind of true, because where I'm standing right now, someone else probably stood, and, back in the past, and someone in the future will probably stand where I'm standing now. So it made me think about weaponry and things like that, and I got to thinking about the shock waves that were created when they had the atomic bomb. And now we have weapons that they use in the police that are using these same shock waves, as well as with the military using these same shock waves as a weapon. But they're not as good as an explosion. An explosion is a much more better weapon. But we are using it in nanotechnology to destroy cancer cells. And I was kind of thinking about if we could come up with a weapon that you could give someone like they do that thallium. The Russians give people thallium and kill them off. We could use that nanotechnology and somehow give someone one of them pills and, kill like world leaders we don't like and things like that. So it made me think about nano weapons. But then after the nano weapons get out, they can't be controlled, and they can form particles with other things. So I was just thinking of all of those things. I know it's kind of strange, but it was just, thinking about Einstein's theory. But I'm going to hang up and listen.
All right, Einstein didn't come up with the theory that you were talking about. It was Schrodinger. Schrodinger's cat is it's interesting. It's complicated. It's about quantum mechanics. Schrodinger's cat was a thought experiment on the Big Bang Theory. That's the first time I ever heard of it. In the thought experiment, hypothetically, the cat that is in a closed box might be considered to be simultaneously both alive and dead while it is being unobserved. You're not looking at it, so you don't know. Well, that's what this thought experiment is, and they're trying to this all started back in 1935. In quantum mechanics, somehow they get to going with that. There's you can go online and read about it. It's Wikipedia. It's one of those things. Schrodinger's cat is one of those things that's just, to me, a game of thought. That's really all it is. It's just a thought problem. A thought problem. You're just sitting there thinking about this. And what you think doesn't really matter, because if you've got a cat in a box, it is what it is. But under the quantum theory of physics, it can be more than one thing at once. And it's an observation. It's one of the reasons why when you start looking at theoretical physics like they did on the Big Bang Theory, they get into these long bouts of depression because they can't come up with an answer to some of the things. And one of the problems is there may be no answer. If you subscribe to the Schrodinger's cat theory, there two things can be true at the same time that in my mind can't be true at the same time. You don't know whether the cat in the box that you can't see is dead or alive, so it can be dead or alive at the same time. And I'm going, no, it's either dead or alive. One of those two things is true. Open the box and look. Jews and Episcopalians and everything is because of our Constitution. We have freedom of religion. The government cannot tell us, like they did in England, the Church of England, you can't tell us who we can worship or what we believe. That's our God-given right. We can make that choice. That's why we've had in the past so many problems with religion, is because there's some people that want to tell you that I'm right, you're wrong, and whatever. I have the right to feel the way I do, and I've told you many times how I feel on this program. But you also have the right to feel that way, and although I might disagree with you, I respect your right to believe that, and I respect that my beliefs may be the one that comes true and yours don't. But the thing is, we have freedom in this country, and that's why I don't think we need another revolution. I think what we need to do is we need to start following the rules and regulations that made us great. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of movement, the freedom to be secure in our homes, in our cars, and and not have all these people trying to violate your rights with unreasonable search and seizure and all. Let's go back to the basics and start following the rules and regulations and quit trying to make things easier on you politically by violating the rights of people during the Constitution. It's supposed to be hard. So your rights under the Constitution make government hard. That's what our founding fathers wanted to do. It's supposed to be difficult for the government to be in charge, because our founding fathers knew that the government was the problem. When they start trying to take away your rights, your freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, your freedom to gather, your whatever the freedoms are that you're given by God in the Constitution, the government somehow wants to make their lives easier and take some of that stuff away from you. And that's what we need to go back to that. We need to be free. We need to accept the fact that we're a freedom, and that our government is not easy it's not easy to get things done. It's hard to get things done, but we need to start doing the people's business, what's best for all of us, and not doing political business, because political business is not best for all of us. It really isn't.
He said if you put enough sewage out and have it documented and talk about it, people start believing.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what Obama said.
Well, that's what any politician knows. That the more you talk about things, you can put a lie out in the world, and it's absolutely a lie, and it'll go around the world before the truth ever gets up for breakfast.
Well,
I mean, people buy into stuff that they want to buy into. The girls the girls on The View one day had been talking about how they had been fooled by another one of the things. It was the people that had said something had happened that didn't happen, and they had to admit that they were wrong because they believed the guy. And they said, "Why do we do this?" And she said, "Because we hate Donald Trump so much." And that's exactly why that conspiracy theory started. I'm not talking about this one.
Well, now, since we've been talking about this, and you had to bring up the president. Now, remember, they have been after him for a long time, and that is no conspiracy. That is a true fact that they've been after Donald J. Trump for a long time, and they're not going to quit. They're not going to quit, because if they do, they're going to lose everything. Now, Democrats ain't going to quit. I mean, make it make sense. They ain't found him guilty of anything that I know of in court.
Well, yeah, he was found guilty of 34 charges. Now they have on appeal, they have eliminated the penalty, but they haven't eliminated the charges. So yeah, he was found guilty of in this latest lawfare 34 charges. Now that may on appeal may go away, but it hasn't yet.
Well, yeah, of course it will, because they're not going to find him on nothing. I mean, there ain't no way. I mean, when is enough as far as pushing this issue?
Well, it's never going to be enough. They hate him so much, it'll never be enough. They'll keep pushing it and pushing it. And they keep coming up with these things. Oh, I got him now. And it hasn't worked. So the thing is...
Well, now listen. Now,
I
have a suggestion for you, Harry, before we go. I know we're running out of time. I have a suggestion for you before we go. The next time you take old Blue out for a stroll, get your flagpole and tie it up on the back there, put your Trump flag on it, so everybody will know where you stand.
I don't like people giving me a salute as I go by. So
well, I'm just saying,
don't do that.
You don't have to do it, Harry. You don't have to do it. Even though you want to, you don't have to do it.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. 222-9224.
The last two callers, I got to get off here so somebody else get on here, and
got a hate for Mexican and have nice cars. They all sound the same, and they see things in the sky like fog that's gonna kill them, and they see Democrats, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton especially, down in basements of a pizza factory, a pizza restaurant in Washington where they practice pedophilia. That was said on this station. Those are the nuts that believe in MAGA. And I will say what Hillary Clinton said, those are the deplorables, because now they're turning their craziness on politics, which affects me. So I'm going to call a spade a spade. Let me call out a couple of things that you said yesterday that I do agree with you, Will, but I agree with you, but it's a sad commentary on this country. But let me say a couple of things. First, the Clean CR bill, where they put that slush fund in there for Republican senators, was not put in there by the 8 Democrats. It was put in there by the majority leader, Senator Thune. And Senator Lindsey Graham, although the House kicked it out, Senator Lindsey Graham is threatening to put it back in there, and it's going to hold the bill up because he wants it back in there, because he said he's going to sue for over $1 million. He's going to sue the taxpayers for over $1 million, like the president is going to sue the taxpayers for $250 million. Now, also, as far as Charlie, and I don't understand why Charlie, he beats up Barry, he beats up Jim, but he always gives you a pass, and you're saying the exact same thing that Barry and Jim is saying. But let me say this about the immigration. Time and time again, you keep beating the same dead horse. People are okay with immigration. They're not okay with picking people out of a crowd that looks like Mexican and then trying to lock you up and sending people back that are citizens. Just in Raleigh, they just arrested a guy that was a citizen, found out that he was a citizen, threw his stuff on the side of the road and drove off and just left him there. That's what people are upset about. When you look at the polls, time and time again, they are up for immigration. They are not up for the violation of people's due rights and due process. That's what people are upset about. Let's talk about that. Let's say that instead of keep saying people are upset about people sending people back. Obama sent over 3 million people back. And you know who agreed with Obama? Senator Langford, the Republican for Oklahoma, who said if we would have adopted the bill that the Republicans killed because they wanted to give a win for Trump before the election, and Mike Johnson killed the bill, if you would have enacted that bill, which did one of the things that you said was very important, which is very important, was they would have added 5,000 more judges, which would have then took the case number down from 3 to 5 years to 30 to 60 days. Senator Langford said if they would have adopted that bill, which it was bipartisan, 60 Republicans were going to vote for it, and the Democrats, and he said if they would have took that bill, or even if they would have did the Obama administration era of immigration, it would have been better than this, and you would have had more people. That's what Senator Langford said. So he also agrees with Charlie. But let me say this. This is why, and then you have Barry, of course, upset about something that is not even to be upset about. Where was his condemnation when he talked about the political violence, when Trump said that senators should be hung or killed? He actually repeated a meme. Somebody said George Washington would have hung those. He put that same meme on his Truth Social and put his name on it. The President of the United States talking about hanging United States senators. For what? Because they stated, and let me say this about those 6 servicemen. All of them either served in the Army, some in active duty. All of them have taken that oath. The oath clearly said, and this is the problem, you have people that will read the oath, and still don't understand what it says. The oath is to the Constitution. It says that you have to follow the laws of the president and your officers above you. So are you taking an oath to your generals? Are you taking an oath to your sergeants? Are you taking an oath to a corporal who is above you? You're simply taking an oath to the Constitution, and it tells you who you have to follow the orders. And then it says this: if as authorized by the United States Military Code. So that means if it is not a lawful order by what the United States Military Code is, you don't follow it. It says that. But the guy that read it yesterday, he still don't understand it. And he said, given the fact there's a problem with reading comprehension. I remember on this show, and this was when it was Obama voters, that everybody used to call and say, you know what needs to happen? There needs to be a test before you vote. Now, of course, I don't believe that because that's not what our Constitution says. But that's what people used to say to try to get Obama voters not to vote. Well, it don't sound like you really understand. It says that people say that they want Latinos to adapt to the laws and understand our history and things like that. But it don't even sound like that you understand it. You continually get stuff wrong. And the last thing is this. It's funny to me how people always are talking about, things that Trump is doing and all this other actual farmers competition in Brazil. So how is that America first?
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. He always says I get things wrong, but we'll never have a conversation about something that I got. You got that wrong. Well, here is the oath. He was talking about this is the oath, the enlistment oath. This is the oath that a guy called and read to us. And it says, I, state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. I completely understand that. The point that I was making, the reason that I think that what these folks did was wrong was because when you do that oath, you have already, you understand. Why did we need a minute video to let us know that if the President of the United States gives a military person an unlawful order that they don't have to follow? Why did we have to do that? What was the point of that? That was to cause controversy, to put this into a political light. What unlawful order has the president given that you need to not follow? That would be the next question to ask. But that's not what they were talking about. They were just trying to create a controversy. And they did. And I think the president reacted to it horribly. I think what the minute video was a horrible thing.
The Charlotte Mecklenburg Police and the mayor's office do not support these tactics and were not involved. Governor Josh Stein dropped this video with regards to what is happening in his state. We've seen this happen in Los Angeles. We've seen this happen in Chicago, Memphis, where Donald Trump wants to pretty much tell these cities and states what to do. Now, keep in mind, he had the approval of the governor of Tennessee, Republican. Josh Stein, North Carolina, is a Democrat. Listen.
Josh Stein. I wanted to provide an update as Customs and Border Patrol agents have been in Charlotte over the weekend. My team and I have been in regular contact with state and local law enforcement to ensure that they have the resources that they need to keep you safe. Public safety is our top priority, and our well-trained local officers know their communities and are here for the long haul. On Friday, before Customs and Border Protection came to Charlotte, I encouraged North Carolinians to follow the law, remain peaceful, and bear witness to what you're seeing. Thank you, Charlotte, for answering that call. To the CBP, if you know that we have violent criminals in Charlotte who are undocumented, we want them out too. Everyone wants to be safe in their communities. But the actions of too many federal agents are doing the exact opposite in Charlotte. We've seen masked, heavily armed agents in paramilitary garb driving unmarked cars, targeting American citizens based on their skin color, racially profiling and picking up random people in parking lots and off of our sidewalks, going after landscapers simply decorating a Christmas tree in someone's front yard, and entering churches and stores to grab people. This is not making us safer. It's stoking fear and dividing our community. I want to say a word about immigration. We are a nation of immigrants, and our state and this country is stronger because of our immigrant communities. Unfortunately, our immigration system is broken. But rather than fix it, the federal government continues to play politics with it. It is long past time for Congress to act. We need strong borders. We must hold accountable and deport anyone who has committed a serious crime. And we must create a path to legal status for those who've been here a long time, paid their taxes, and followed the law, especially our dreamers who came to this country as very young children. North Carolina, I know this is a stressful moment, but please stay peaceful. And if you see something wrong, record it and report it to local law enforcement. That's what we can do for our neighbors to keep each other safe. That's the North Carolina way. Thank you.